What I would like to talk about today is all the previous presentations, they were focusing a lot on the further future. And I've chosen a topic deliberately which focuses on the nearer term future. So something you could do in 2 weeks and which would cost you roughly 3,000 euros to implement. So how to bring future close to tomorrow. And basically, I'd like to set a little bit the stage for digital. Many times people ask me, how can we sell cards or how could we sell banking products in the digital space? And then one of the first questions which comes to my mind is, okay, so what is digital? And we have these endless debates, what is called digital. So let me try to define it just to make our lives a little bit easier for the next 10 minutes. For us, with the advisors team, we call digital whatever is happening in the digital space. So basically the world that's happening is online. We always say we need a connected device to do something which is digital, and connected device for us means two things. One is it runs an operating system, so it's sort of smart. And the other one, it has a data connection, preferably all the time. And then the last one, to make something digital, which was mentioned in the previous presentations as well, is to leave some sort of digital identifier, trail, cookie, whatever it is. So if someone is in private mode or someone is invisible to us while doing something online, it's not really digital, he's just hiding away. So what is so exciting for us about digital is, first of all, the need of consumers for seamless experience. With all the complexity of all this topic, like cognitive or even smart cities and so on, I think the consumers don't really care what's going on in the background. They care what they get, and they don't really want to know the technology itself. They just want something which works, it's simple, and it works to be very well. And if I try to translate it into the cards world, which I'm busy with day to day, I think it translates into the following. A couple of years ago, we used to talk about the wallet, the leather thing we carry in our pockets, who could be top of wallet. Now for me, the question is, who could be top of the unlock screen? So when I unlock my phone, I have, 20 apps. If you manage to get there, you're already in a winning space. If they need to flip to the second one, less of a chance and so on. The other thing which is very important to me, I don't think technology is that much disruptive at the moment. I think we are moving towards standardized things. So because the big players like the digital giants, the Amazons, the Googles and so on of the world are coming into the financial industry or closer to the financial industry, I think what they bring with them is standardization. 2 years ago, if I meet 3 banks, 3 of them would maybe make 3 different choices. One would say, okay, I want to have contactless on my phone done with a SIM card. Someone else would say, I want to done it with a cloud-based technology and so on and so forth. Now everyone agrees it's in the cloud, which makes our lives a little bit easier, and this is one of my key points I'd like to make, is I think digital at the moment starts to show signs of stability. There are some mainstreams you can follow, and most probably these mainstreams will make it to be big. And there will be some disruptive things which we'll see if they work or not. And the last one is the consumer expects digital availability 24/7. If you think about it, then basically you don't care what time zone you are in. You don't really want to call a call center which says, oh, thank you for your call, we are available from 9 to 6, and then call us back later. They want to have something which is available all the time, which applies to shopping as well. The reason people shop online, many times if you look into the traffic, how it gets across the time of the day, you see that people shop many times online when the offline stores are closed, which is pretty obvious. But why don't we try to serve them the same way from a banking perspective when the branches are closed? And the last one, which for me, if you probably in 2 weeks' time, you will forget all of these presentations. But the one idea which I would like you to take away from mine is that digital is a two-way street. So we tend to treat a little bit digital as a one-way street. We have a message, we deliver, okay, we do it now on Facebook, how cool is that? But I think what we need to remember that clients expect and customers expect digital to be a two-way street, which basically means I want them to answer me back as soon as possible. That's one thing. And the other thing, in 2016, why can't I get an individualized offer from my bank? Why is it that they just ask me 3 questions and try to put me into one of the 15 buckets, which they call segments, and then if I don't really like that bucket, I will just change the answers to the questions, just to get the one which I actually wanted to get. So we need to figure out a way, and this is the question which we posted to our teams, is how could we make it more of a two-way street? And the solution we came up with, I'll be very frank with you, it's fairly basic, but basically it's a concept how to sell cards online with the full value chain. So not deliver leads and not deliver just contact, which then we would bring to the regular channel, but to make as much as possible through the digital. So we created something we call now the engine. It does not have a project name at the moment, which does two things. One, it can look into existing databases, so it can look into customer data that you purchased or you just collected somewhere. And then what it would do, it's a self-learning tool, so it would start shooting out emails in very small batches. And it would test different types of emails. It would test different times of the day. It would test how different people, based on gender, age, and so on, try to react to the emails. And every time it gets back the feedback, it would change and try to optimize it over time. Now, the whole idea is that we would like people to leave as much information as possible in the digital world and come to the offline branch only when it's absolutely necessarily needed. And let's face that we also have our selfie pays and our biometric solutions and so on, but for the next 1 or 2 years, I'm pretty sure in Romania, most of the people will still need to go into a branch, show their ID card, person checks, they sign, and it's done. So what we try to do is, okay, let's try to channel as much as possible people back to the online space and tell them, look, if you give me online your data, we will pre-fill all that things into the forms which the bank requires, and the only thing you need to go in is really do the signature. For me, again, talking about frustration, for me it's always frustrating where I tell online my name, my email, my phone number, I don't know, my ID card's number, then I go into the branch and they ask me the very same question once again. So what we try to do, try to capture it online where people feel comfortable. If they don't finish up, then try to reach out back to them and then try to get them finished so they can really go into that one signature, and then the offline experience gets boiled down to, I don't know, maybe 2 minutes or even less. Then comes the little bit trickier question. It's very nice if we know the contact information and we can send it out and we have database, maybe even consent to connect. But what happens if people are just wandering around? And for that, we decided to build on, sorry, it's again very mainstream, but to build on social media. So we started to develop apps within the social media platforms. And we said, if we can define the behavior, the trail which we are looking for in the online space, then we could have these like targeted offers. So what it does, it actually checks what people read on Facebook, how long they scroll, how long they spend maybe looking at one article, and so on. So all the information which is available there. And then we would say, okay, look, this person is likely to travel in the next 2 months because they're just asking questions about travel and so on. So why don't we try to offer them a travel-related card or anything, anything which is related to that. And then again, it all gets linked in to provide as much information as possible. The caveat is, if you are logged in with your Facebook account, we actually know pretty much lots of things about you. So even from your email address, which you use as a login, we can, for most of the people, make a very strong guess about their surname, their last name, maybe even the birth date, at least the year. So we try to collect all this information and pre-fill as much as possible. Say, look, we predict that this is your name. We predict that this is your birth date. Please correct the ones, again, engaging customers. Try to correct the ones which are not correct. And then if you do all this, we'll give you the comfort of just walking into a branch. We can even set up your appointment if you wish, and then we'll welcome you in the branch just to sign the papers. Now, how can it be extended into the future? Well, we think that, first of all, this could be applied not only to cards. As a MasterCard advisor, I have to tell you how to sell cards, but actually, if you're smart enough, you can figure it works for different things. The other thing which is very important, again, we collect lots of data about the customers. Where are the drop-off rates? Maybe we are asking the wrong questions. People don't really want to provide, let's say, the employer name, or they don't want to provide their income levels. This is where most of the people stop the application process. Then again, because it's a self-learning experience, we can try to modify it and maybe ask it even earlier so that we already drop off people maybe at an earlier stage or later on, depending on your needs. The other thing which we envision for the future, if we could do all this, so we could collect the digital trail of the person, we could collect the information they're willing to share with us, maybe we could get into a world where all this would be then sent out to banks who could be potentially interested, or who could set up it to make it automated, and we could make individualized offer for each and every customer. So this would bring us to the world where you can decide whom is it that you want to pre-filter. You want to flag them as very valuable customers for you, and then you would like to make a special offer if they don't accept, let's say, the standardized one, or you just want to keep them for the future. So these are the things that we try to develop. Like I said, this is now, so this is not really the future that much. And in case you're interested, then please shout out, and we'll be happy to share some additional information.